Good evening. Today I want to talk about school violence. Because this is such a hot topic, I decided that my presentation should be about school violence. School violence has increased within the past 10 years. Teachers are witnessing violence at a major high, yet little research is conducted to include the teacher's perspective about violence in the school. Therefore, this scholar has decided to talk about school violence from a teacher's point of view. First, I want to talk about the mental health on students, the impact of school violence on a student's mental health. Now, we all know that mental health is real, and the violence that happen in schools, no matter if it's from fellow students, student to student, teachers on students, students versus teachers, or other staff members, the violence to witness it can have major impact on a student's psychological, social, and physical being. It must first be understood because it can be dealt with if we understand why and what. Why is this affecting my child? What can I do about it? Mental health. You got to understand the impact and how it affects your students. And then you got to know how to be able to deal in order to heal the trauma of violence. School violence can come in several different ways. It could be physical violence, psychological violence, sexual violence, bullying, cyberbullying, and so on. I found this chart, for the lack of a better term, on school violence and its negativity impacts on a person's health. You will see this is from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Here's a list of some of the health conditions, possible side effects of school violence: death, cuts. You might find students cutting themselves, bruises, broken bones, gunshot wounds. All of these things happen. Head trauma, physical disability, and suicide. The invisible negative health related side effects can be depression. You can't see depression unless you really know the student. They can have anxiety, fear, psychological problems, all because of school violence. Maybe they were a part, maybe they were a victim, maybe they were just eyewitnessing or witnesses to the violence. The effect of bullying on victim. I work at an online school, and I often ask my students, why did your parent choose to send you online? And one of the top reason is they would say, I had a bully. And then they would go on and share how they felt. And this slide has a list of some of the things that bullying could cause. This is violence. It can cause depression, sadness, loneliness. The child can't sleep at night. They got insomnia. They start scoring lower on their achievement tests, on their daily work. It's very, very disturbing. They have headaches. They might lose their appetite, their self esteem. It's just beaten down, all because of a bully. They might be afraid to go to school. The older they get, they might even drop out of school. They can't deal with being in social groups, emotional adjustment. They can't make friends. So it is very devastating to have a bully. And I was like, oh man, this is really hitting close to home. Not only are you hearing about violence in other places, you are hearing about violence right here in St. Paul Public School, where we are employed. So what do we do? CBS News covered a story that was kind of recent. The impact of school violence on educators. Educators in many school districts face violence at the hands of those they are employed to educate. However, there is limited research on how to address the situation. I have personal experience, or should I say, I know of people that were personally attacked by students. Not good at all. You got teachers just this year. I was talking to a principal that said a couple of her teachers got hit and they actually quit the whole field of education. And these were not new teachers. The one spouse, like, nope, my wife is not going back out there. She's going to have a baby. She does not have to work. So she couldn't return. Then another teacher got hit. The husband said, nope, got to get you from over there. So you got a lot of people, and you wonder why we have a teacher shortage, but yet no one even interviewed teachers to get their perspective. Scholars conducted a study in the Minnesota school system and found that special education teachers and teachers' assistants are attacked more often than other employees in the school district. Talk to the special ed people. I would guarantee you that at least 95% of those that work with our special babies have been attacked, even with the little bitty children. And then you got social media that cause violence. Social media plays a major role in the promotion of violence in the lives of young people in America. And it can overflow into school. And we just witnessed that, I believe, this year, where we had a student to transfer to one of our schools because his intention was to fight a fellow, I don't want to say a fellow gang member, but the opposite gang members. And we know how that ended tragically with him killing him, stabbing him to death. So it is right here at home in the state of Minnesota in our school district. And here's proof of social media causing gangs to bring fight to fight. And then it comes to school. School's threat on TikTok. And let's listen to a little of the news.
The threats on social media are not only forcing school districts to deal with it, but also officers like those here at the Arlington Police Department who urge parents to let their children know, real or not, they take the threats very serious. Social media school threats are no joke to law enforcement, especially where school shootings have happened in real life. After the Timberview High School shooting earlier this year, Arlington Police is on defense after even more threats in the area.
We have seen an increase in threats, especially in the last few, I would say, weeks, related to social media posts.
And they're not alone. The TikTok thread is a challenge to do a school shooting on December 17th. It has spread not only across Texas, but coast to coast, from California to Michigan to New York. And here at home, you can now add Allen Independent School District to the list. Although proven not credible, some local police departments have federal resources to help investigate.
The FBI has been very clear from the beginning of this that they are there to lend their full support anytime a threat is made to a school.
A threat made at the middle school in the Louisville School District left Laura Culture looking for answers.
You start to question if you want to send your kids to school, if you want to keep them home from school.
Still, parents are urged to monitor their kids' cell phones, especially since this year alone, more and more students are in trouble for threats.
I can think of probably 5 or 6 in just this semester that we've had to arrest people out of the school or go to their home and an arrest was made.
In Arlington, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
There's another report.
I'm Fred Shropshire. We start this half hour with that series of social media posts promoting threats of school violence. Local schools beefing up security in response. And in one local district, thousands of students didn't show for class today. WCNC Charlotte's Brandon Goldner explains how it's impacting your child's classroom.
Brooke Hostetler needed a good night's sleep before ultimately deciding to send her daughter to school today.
I've been nervous all day, haven't been able to work. I could have kept her home, but it is a national threat and I can't keep her home every time there's a threat.
Those threats of school violence from that viral TikTok challenge convinced other parents to make a different choice. Iredell Statesville Schools Superintendent Dr. Jeff James says 25%, or about 5,000 of the district's students, were absent today.
At that point, the rest of the day is not going to be about education. We'll go through the motions, but as a teacher, if half your class is out, you're going to have to turn around and reteach what you taught.
He says they already disciplined 2 students who made threats this morning, which were later determined to be not credible.
It gets a little taxing, and our teachers are already stressed.
UNC Charlotte professor Anita Blanchard studies psychology and organization science. She's also the mother of 3 CMS students.
Being able to choose perceived control is very important for mental health, and they were aware if at any point they did not want to go to school or they wanted me to pick them up, I would.
Hostetler allowed her daughter to make that choice, and now she eagerly awaits for the school dismissal bell.
Tight hugs, we're going to do a lot of things this weekend, a lot of Christmas stuff, holiday stuff, and so it'll be good once I get her and the day's over.
We asked CMS if they received any threats of violence today or if they disciplined any students for making threats. We still haven't heard back. At CMS headquarters, Brandon Goldner, WCNC Charlotte.
I'm Fred.
So my design action plan, the creator of this presentation will continue monitoring the acts of violence in the public school, especially as it continues impacting students in which she is assigned to educate. St. Paul Public School has been making national news as violence increase in their schools. Principals, future principals, you have to get ready to make sure that you have a solution, strategies. How can you keep violence out of your school? And I found these frightening images of right here at SPPS. There's our superintendent. There's a board meeting. Parents protesting. News media trying to ask questions. Carrie Lavin had the breaking news. What happened? These are different images of fights in our schools. One major fight or acts of violence at Washington. We even have the stats if you want to read them. So I'll just kind of flip through. School bullying. Look at the numbers. Suspension. Is it working? This is one thing they're always talking about. Why are y'all suspending the Black students at a very high rate? And you have the other races doing the same thing. It's either the little brown children. How are you going to deal with that, principals? Even running into the colleges. Here are some incidents from primary, middle, and high school reporting crime. Firearms, weapons. back to suspension and expulsion, getting rid of them according to the socioeconomic status. So we're questioning now, is it fair? Equity. Different trouble at school. In my conclusion, the issue of school violence continues to be a hot topic throughout America. But I've found that since the killing of George Floyd, especially in the city of Minneapolis, seems to me the violence has increased and our city is going down. And the state of Minnesota got a bad reputation. What are we going to do? Our inner city students are leaving. Teachers are leaving our district. So I think it's very, very important that we as future leaders of schools find a solution, find strategies, learn all we can to make a difference. And that's my conclusion of the whole matter. There's violence in the school and it must be dealt with. Or we're going to continue having hurt, broken people, parents crying, children afraid, teachers quitting.